Greetings, community. It's Kevin from 1-2 Comic Talk. I'm hoping you guys are doing well. I'm just hanging out with you because why? Well, as the show says, margaritas and comic books. That's what we're doing. I'm just drinking and reading. And basically, what I'm doing is kind of winding down from a long day. Cool thing is I'm safe at home so far that I know. I'm healthy. I'm all considered, all is good. Um, Went out. I had to get some liquid plumber. The reason why is the plumbing wasn't working, and I set up there we go, a tax appointment with my tax person, and that was supposed to happen at 4 o'clock. And the tax person never got back to my wife and I. And then I also, as I stated, ended up pouring a bunch of Drano stuff down the drains because the bathtub and shower was no longer working. So I guess what I'm saying is between playing with the plumbing and playing with the taxes, and neither one of them got done, they were both incomplete, shitty experiences. So that being said, tomorrow I will have a plumber over here tomorrow morning. Sup, Comic Crazy, how you doing, man? And I'm all right. I'll consider it all cool. I'm just snowing a little bit. I'm just enjoying a margarita, and I've been reading a little bit of books and preparing for tomorrow. Tomorrow, as I was stating, I have a plumber coming over at 7 a.m. and then that's Pacific time. And then at noon, Kai and I, we have a interview with Mr. Frank Gogol of Grief / Dead End Kids / new book coming out. It was tentatively scheduled for 6/24, which is called No Heroin. That interview will be happening tomorrow, Wednesday at 12 noon. And I am a musician. Well, I play drums. You're reading Ice Cream. Cool. The only ice cream one I got was 17 because it was the homage cover, and this is what I'm hearing about ice cream is that everyone that starts reading it doesn't stop. The only people that don't like it are the ones that are not reading it. And it's right up my alley. It's one of those indie anthology type of shit. Matter of fact, Frank Gogol, that was his first book, was Grief, which was basically a compilation of 10 stories that encompass and talk about grief in an anthology manner. Which I was saying, he'll be here tomorrow. Obviously, I need another drink. And yeah, Kai and I will be interviewing him. If you haven't read Dead End Kids, that's also a great book. He did an interview with Brian and Jack on Supplements Comics that you can also check out. And there I end up learning a couple of things that I'll end up bringing up on our channel. Plus expanding on things that I didn't hear. I was looking for certain answers. And Frank's is someone that we spoke to in the past, and he ended up telling us about this storyline, No Heroin. And I was chomping on the bit ever since I was told about this. And Kai and I got to hear this, if I recall. It was October 13th, not to be overly specific, at the LA Comic-Con. And he basically said, look, I'll tell you some of the inside of this thing as long as you basically don't tell the public. So I've been waiting for some of this information to drop before I actually had the ability to start talking about it. You got the trade on 1, 2, and 3 and reading 4, and I'm like blown away. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. So I recommend Comic Crazy if you can. Tune in tomorrow. Kai and I will be interviewing Mr. Frank Gogol Saturday. And that's a special artist alley. As you may know, artist alleys are usually held on Saturday, and my co-host Christy Shin just said that she'd be able to attend tomorrow, along with Our normal artist alley, which will be on this Saturday, will be Mr. Charlie Stickney. Now, he does, presently, he's working on White Ash, and that is a. Now, I didn't realize how extensive this world is. I only just recently jumped in, but it is a world that is 60 issues deep. On average, each arc lasts around 6 issues. He has a world built of 10 arcs, and I think where we're at right now is like, it's a weird numbering system. I'm not even going to try to guess, but it is relatively in the beginning of this. Outstanding. The bell, subscribe. Have I told you I love you lately? Comment crazy, you're awesome. Yeah, you should enjoy. Kai and I, we really like to meet with a lot of these indie writers, and being that they're a lot of these people are local to us or have traveled local to us, and we've befriended them over the times that we've got to meet them during the sightings. We've developed relationships with these people that allowed us to ask them and at times beg for them to be on the show. We really enjoy their company. We really enjoy their books. So that's why we like to do Artist Alley. We like to create another platform so artists and creators can come on and basically promote themselves. Obviously, it's the stuff that we are kind of partial to. At the same point, if artists and creators are out there and they're looking to promote themselves, it doesn't matter if we know their stuff or not. If they tend to be of genuine individuals that are looking to make themselves in the industry, we are willing to help. It's what we do. So yeah, back to the point. Back on rails. So this Saturday will be Mr. Charlie Stickney. He does White Ash. I'm digging this book. Luckily, issue number 3 dropped last week. I got to read that. The first one, when you get almost all the way through it, you're just thinking, this is pretty run-in-the-mill in the sense of how the storyline kind of goes. We've seen movies that kind of start similar. It almost comes off cliche. And when it hits that right-hand turn, you don't realize that if you don't hit that right-hand turn with it in the story, you hit a wall. And you're going, what the F just happened? So that's what it ends up doing to you in issue 1. And when you get into issue 2 and 3, it then only now allows you, the reader, then also as the character learns with the reader, what the hell is going on? You end up learning that this world that is built around the main character in the story of White Ash is a world that the individual is also oblivious to, as you are the reader. And as the individual is being educated, so that you, the reader, you're taking on this journey of run-in-the-mill average in stuff that you hear in a cliche manner. Small town person trying to succeed, get out of the small working class and moving up as far as education and as far as collar status. But when it delves into the supernatural is when it starts getting into some real fun, which that's what White Ash does. So he'll be with us Saturday. I just got off the speaking with Mr. Dylan Gilbertson. He does a book called Sweetheart. I just read that. What was it? The week before last ago. Week before last and it was at a last signing event that was held at my LCS, and because of our present situation, so he basically has agreed to go ahead and jump on with this too on the next Artist Alley following. I know I have Mr. Dom Wynn that wants to get on here. I need to talk to Walden. There's so many people now because of our present situation that are looking to get on. Plus, we as a community can help these individuals. We can either contact our LCS, tell these, our LCS that we're looking to pre-buy these books. We have interest in them. In the case of, I end up, along with Kai, holding an interview with Drew Zucker and David Boer. You can call your LCS and say, look, how can I get this trade? Or you can actually get those trades even now through Amazon and various sites. Or you can, again, support your local LCS and say, hey, look, put that on reserve for me. Or throw that in my box. I know I can't get it right now, but when I can. Or mail it to me if that's possible. Hey, Gray Man. So what I'm talking about right now is all the Artist Alley events that are be coming up. One is tomorrow with Frank Gogol. The next one will be the Saturday with Mr. Charlie Stickney. Hopefully the following Saturday after that will be with Mr. Dylan Gilbertson that writes Sweetheart. I'm still working that one out as far as the dates, but he's definitely on board. We're holding a lot of these events now that we're all on lockdown. So I'm trying to do what I can to assist these individuals and make sure that the community knows about these titles that are still out there that are tentatively, as far as dates are concerned, coming out. They're definitively coming out, but I just want to make sure that the community still knows about these things. Thank you, Comic Crazy. Yeah, I'm trying to line up a bunch of people, and my co-host. I'm trying to start lining up various guest co-hosts as my regular co-host too. So, meaning I have my normal regular co-host, which is Christy Shim of Horror Torah Studios, and she has her new book out right now, a new Demon Bitch book, which I'll be asking her to talk about. At the same point, I want to start inviting guest hosts. So, for instance, tomorrow, I know Rod of Just a Rican and his comics will be with me tomorrow only for a brief time period because his schedule only allows him for beyond a brief time, unfortunately, because he'll be at work when we're actually doing this event. Saturday, I know that Perry of Perry Comics may mention that he enjoyed the first issue of Charlie Stickney's book, More Margarita. So I asked, I've extended my hand out there and see if Perry has the ability, I know he's busy, to guest host this Saturday. I'm not certain who's read Sweetheart. I would really like to get an issue out to Dylan of Dylan's Comics prior in which that I interview Dylan, because I would really like to have Dylan with me with Dylan. You see what I did there? So now you know basically what the idea is over the next basically couple of weeks, and maybe as many as, if we're on lockdown, as much as a month. I think I have as many guests to do as much as a month's content every Saturday without an issue. If you are an artist or you are a creator and or you know one or you believe that there's one in my vicinity that I need to rap with, please reach out to me. Kai and I would love to talk to these people. I know we don't have the ability to go out and actually physically rap with these people, but, send them our way. We're willing to talk. I know Mr. Brandon Easton just came out with the new Judge Dredd on IDW. I know it's 4 issues. I already bought 1 issue. I know that there's a few issues that are signed. There's only 5 issues that I know of that have been signed in this country so far. There's like 10 of them over at the Atomic Basement in Long Beach, along with the other 5 that are in circulation presently. And that's what I mean. I know there's only 5 in circulation presently. I want one of those things. Until I get to meet with Brandon and have him also, he did the Amazing Spider-Man on IDW, the last one, not the one coming out. Anyways, I need to talk to Brandon so bad. So anyways, that's my point, is I need to talk to these people. I want them to talk with you. I want you to have an understanding of what these people are doing. I want you to know that they are still working on these titles. They are still presently working, even though that Diamond is shut down, even though that, their inability as far as the LCS to sell them to you. It doesn't mean that a lot of these artists and creators aren't working or already have their books done. That's another reason why I want them to basically convey to you that, hey, look, we're good on our end. And even if we have to, depending on who you talk with, you may even be able to receive certain things from these people free. That's what he said, free, through digital. I know that there's individuals doing this type of stuff. So more of an incentive, more of a reason to watch 1-2 Comic Talk, because some of these things should be basically coming out here first. So another drink, margarita. That's what it is. Margaritas and comics. Kai and I want you to be a part of that with us. What your contact and email. You can find us at Facebook and or Instagram. Jump on Instagram, throw a message at me, and basically you can find us that way. Once you go ahead and throw some messages at us, we'll contact you from there and we'll work things out. I've already reached out to people like God Tank and individuals of that, like that. 36 Chambers actually was on an artist alley one time, and yeah, They know that the invite and this platform is always here for them, and that's what this platform, meaning when we do the artist alley, is all about. Is we just want another soapbox, another platform for artists and creators to be able to come on and promote themselves. And the cool thing about it for Kai and I is we get exposed to new stuff, and I grew up enjoying meeting artists and creators all my life when I first started collecting comics, and Kai and I have been able to bond over that. That's what we do, is we like to go meet these people. So I like finding new excuses to continue that. Whatever allows Kai and I to keep doing this type of shit is cool. So this is what I was talking about as far as the Judge Dredd. This is was written by Brandon Easton. So critically, it's been doing really well. So unfortunately, because of all how busy I've been of late, I don't know if you got to catch the beginning, but I've been dealing with some shit. That joke is funny if you go back and watch the beginning. I haven't been able to read a lot of this stuff, so I haven't got to read this, which I'm dying to read because I know Rod reads Transformers books. I've been wanting, and I'm a Terminator fan. I've been wanting to go ahead and find an excuse to get into a Transformer book, and there it is. The Sumerian, and tomorrow Kai and I will be doing a show because we end up getting our books in tomorrow. We do a big order through DCBS, along with we end up getting almost all of our indies are exclusively come from our local shops, and then some of our main kind of our main company buys, meaning your Marvel and DC, we end up buying through DCBS. That way you can go ahead and get a discount through them. It just works out for us. And as far as local comic shops, we shop at 3 of them, and we get these type of books through them. So I'm able to go ahead and allow them to get the indies and all the incentives that they would not be able to normally qualify for. So I buy them through them. But to get them a 1 in 25 on, let's say, on Marvel, it's like, let someone else do that. She-Hulk, I want to get the replica because I don't think I can really afford the real one. And I'm a massive Usagi Yojimbo fan. And these color classics allow me to go ahead and dig into these things, even though this is like the 3rd time around for these classics, and I have the original. But it allows me to go ahead and throw these at Kai and not have to worry about even the second versions of them, and I like that. And then it's weird because even though the story is essentially the same, the first round he didn't like, the second round he didn't like, the modern version he doesn't really like, but this newer version of the old style he's digging because it has color. And for him, I guess that's all it was. He just had to see some color. I don't know if it works for him. It gives me an excuse to buy. It gives me more of an excuse to buy the books because he gets to enjoy them as much as I do now. I'm sure you guys can relate. So and I got to read a lot of my last week's books. I won't go through all of those, but what I want to go over is my LCS hooked me up, and before we got the shut down, they're like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just take a few of these books? We want to promote them. We want you to go ahead and read these things. So these next 3 that I'm showing you, this one also, they were given to me, and they just asked, hey, you know what? Have you and Kai read them and do a review if you don't mind. I was like, really? That's all you want? It's like, it's cool. My LCS hooks me up, man. They hooked me up. So I did get to read Basketful Heads. And Kai and I normally don't do reviews, but we will be doing some stuff being that we're in the state that we are. So I'll end up doing a separate review for that. This is Philadelphia. I met Mr. Rodney Barnes and Sean Alexander. Not only both those gentlemen Very, very nice. But the intelligence on both those gentlemen are just, that was an entertainment factor all of itself, to be able to interact with these gentlemen on such a high IQ level. They speak to you on such a welcoming level, but it was very stimulating mentally. I mean, these guys have an IQ that's up there. So when they were conducting themselves and speaking, how should I say, when they were speaking about the story and how they conducted themselves, it was almost choreographed. And I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean it was like there was like an elegance to the delivery on what they were saying and how they were saying it. And there was no way you could choreograph some of the questions I was hitting them up with. You know, Kai and I, as you may have seen on some of our artist alleys, we'll hit people up on what's their favorite pizza. You can't rehearse that. Yeah, I agree that the cover is great. Um, Jason does one of the covers on all the run, and then there is a guest that will come in and do another. I've been getting all the A covers. Yeah, all the A covers, which are Jason covers, and I like his work. His I'm going to use two highly contrasting styles, I guess, to go ahead and give my example, which would be, you know, your Power Rangers really pops, and this really draws you in. You know, the penciling, the shading, everything really brings you into the story, really draws you into the art. And it's so immersive. It's not actually up and out at you and you really almost have to scrutinize certain shots, certain images that are done, because it's not until you feel that you're in the story and you're reading as if you're kind of that camera view, that you actually start learning that you actually start feeling the story more. And I think that's the idea behind the art, is it's trying to really bring you in. And I think that's why it's purposed, as far as the shading is concerned, is to really draw you in and make you feel like you are taking these shots, you are taking these camera perspective shots. After talking with Jason, um, he didn't really say that, but he did allude to my suspicions. You know, I mean, it seemed like he was playing with me, and we were having a good time. But he did make mention, and he did verify that he purposely likes to do heavy shading, and he purposely likes to bring in the reader um, to his art. He likes to pull that individual into his stuff, and so the speculation I have isn't just something that I, you know, drew up in my mind. It does exist, but maybe it's just that I really fall into his art as much as you know, your like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or your Power Ranger stuff really pops. You know what I mean? It's just bam. When do you think comics will emerge again? Cerebus, it's nice to see you, sir. It's hard to say. You know, I mean, everyone right now, this is what I definitely know, that no one knows anything. Definitely. You know what I mean? There's no definitive word or anything. Because we're at the whim of something that we can't pinpoint as far as how anything's going to react. I think that the market is the same, unfortunately. And being that most people were at the whim of Diamond and they're a victim of how things are done in the ways that they've been doing it for so long, that who knows how this is going to work. This is what I do know. Much like in the movie of Facebook, that when this one actor made mention of, hey, look, I invented Napster, and he says, well, I'm paraphrasing, but the idea was, one individual said to the other individual, you know, you act as if you won, but you lost. You lost your business, you lost Napster, you lost all the money, you got sued, everything went away. And he said, well, yeah, but I kind of did what I wanted. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I achieved my goal. And initially he was thinking it was a monetary one. No, it wasn't. And part of what he wanted to do is change the music industry, and he did. And what I mean by that is I was one of those kids that used to line up at a music center, a Tower Records type place, and wait for the tickets. Well, you don't do that anymore. Those days are gone. That doesn't exist. So it's hard to say how this is going to work out because certain things may not exist the way they used to ever again. And certain things may augment in a way that was never done before. We may forever see some places offer a curbside that was only offered because of out of necessity. You know what I mean? But now some places might decide that that's a new service they may want to offer. I think that's cool if they, perpetuate that beyond, needed format. If it was a luxury of or should I say, a lot, a luxury of service luxury. You know what I mean? So there's things that could spin out of this as a positive, and that's what I'm getting. I guess is that I'm looking forward to things changing, but not only changing for a positive, but changing on a broader level for a positive, and that could happen as an after effect of this, and we shall see. It would be interesting to see. I have hopes. I'm optimistic, and I'm also drinking a margarita. That was a fun time. So I take it, Pope. I don't have to speak. I already know for Gray Man, but I take it, Pope. You were a part of that generation that used to do that. Because I mean, Gray Man, he's around my age. I'm about to turn 51, so I definitely was those people that used to hang out and wait from like midnight, in line to go ahead and be the first in line to even still hope that the people that opened up the store had the computers fired up. You know what I mean? Before they opened up and had everything ready to go, because it was frustrating when you waited there all night and then you're like, seriously, you didn't even fire up the computers? But we're still going to be back way there in Loge. That was a time. Man, I used to party pretty heavily just waiting in line. There was a couple times I had no idea how I even got my tickets. It was an interesting time. Hey, community, it's good to see you. I appreciate you being here. I'm almost done with my margarita, which means that I'm about to bail. But part of this was to go over a few of the books that we had of last week's pickups. Tomorrow we should be receiving. Things have already changed. Yeah, I agree. We should be getting our books from Deep CBS tomorrow. Kai and I should be doing a show tomorrow on our opening. More than likely, I've asked Rod the Just a Rican in his comics to jump on with us as we open up, only because he shares the same company, and I think we share some of the same books. So I just wanted to do a comparison and see what he got, hang out with him, and yeah, no worries. I appreciate you checking in, everybody, and I appreciate you checking in. And I wanted to make that again the announcement that I don't know if you noticed, if you got your bell on, but we'll be doing an interview with Frank Gogo tomorrow, and then the Saturday normal Artist Alley will be doing an interview with Charlie Stickney, and then the following I've yet to nail down, but I've been talking to Dylan Gilbertson, and also I've been talking to Don Wynn. God, I was actually just talking to a couple more people, but their Kickstarter just ended today. I wanted to get him on before it did. It didn't happen. I don't want to kind of say his name yet, but there's a couple people that, these are books, these are artists, these are creators that I would imagine you may not have heard of, but there's some cool stories, some cool books that I just recently been in contact with. Really excited to bring these people to you, but being that I haven't locked anything down, I don't like teasing you guys with it until I can tease you guys for something substantial, something of substance. So until that time, Can do it. I'm getting close. Yeah, that was a good marquee. So, community, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I am going to call it a night. I got to get up early, allow these plumber people to cruise on in, and get ready for tomorrow's show. So, community, I appreciate you. You stay safe. You stay well. From 1 to Comic Talk.